have a whole luggage, like it would have to be a whole crew. You have to have all types of stuff set up in the room. It takes 48 minutes.
All right.
You gotta do the lighting check.
Hi guys. How are you? Hey V Stern, how are you today? Okay, so this is a random Periscope. You can tell my hair looks crazy, just came from closing. Who else is on the line? Thank you guys so much for joining us today. We have a, little mini surprise for you randomly on Periscope. We just wanted to pop up and surprise you guys on a Wednesday evening. I see Teresa is on the line. Hello, Teresa. Hello. Everyone, if you can, please make sure that you go ahead and share this broadcast. I believe when you click on the comment section, you're able to actually share it off. So tweet it. Go ahead and tweet this episode to your audience. My name is Queen, and I am here on behalf of Charles Blair, the mad scientist, and the Real Deal community. We want to thank you guys so much for joining in. I saw a couple of other folks. Make sure you put your name inside of the comment box if I didn't shout you out. I just saw V Stern and Teresa, so those are only two people who are on the line. The Real Deal Meetup, we're here today. I have two special guests. This is kind of our little pop-up impromptu episode. We are actually going to be talking about how to cure a vacancy. So for all of my actual landlords out there who have vacant properties, if you want to know how to cure a vacancy with Chariot LLC, we're going to go over that today. If you have not RSVP for our next meeting, if you don't know, we are actually at the Baltimore Hilton in the BWI. So we actually meet on the fourth Saturday of each and every month. So if you have not RSVP for this upcoming meeting in June, you need to RSVP because Schultz and Britney killed it last time, Memorial Day weekend, and we still had a packed house. So go ahead and make sure to RSVP for that at therealdealmeetup.com. And I don't know for all you people who are about that cruise life, because I know I am. If you have not, make sure you put your $25 down at The Real Deal Cruise. And we are going to about 5 to 7 islands, I believe. I see you, Dwayne. How are you today? So, yeah, it's only $25 to reserve your spot. I don't know of any cruise that is that inexpensive. I'm just saying. So, we actually have the lovely Adrian and Francine here with us today. Hey, Dwayne, how are you? Make sure you double tap on the screen to heart it up. We're actually at 40,000 hearts. Like, you guys are so awesome. 40,000. I think last time, yes, double tap. Last time we were at 32 when we started our episode, and now we're at 40,315 or something crazy like that. So you guys have been so awesome. So I'm going to go ahead and turn it over to these lovely ladies. Y'all ready for me?
Yes. How are you?
Hi, I'm Adrian. I'm one of the managing partners of the Chariot Group LLC.
And I'm Francine. I'm also one of the managing partners here at the Chariot Group LLC.
Okay, cool guys. So we are this is like Periscope after dark. So this is like really laid back, nothing too formal, but the Chariot Group LLC, just tell us a little bit about the company and how you guys got started, because we were talking about it before and I think it's a really cool story. So
So I actually have been involved kind of more in the mortgage industry for the past 15, 16 years.
Okay.
I'm an independent loan closer. So whenever you get to the table and you have that person who's like walking you through the documents, sometimes it's an attorney, sometimes it's a person like me. So I kind of explain the documents, the closing documents, make sure you understand what you're signing, notarize them on behalf of the title company. And I've been doing that for about 15 or 16 years, but I've always wanted to delve into real estate investing. So many years ago, I bought a course from Carlton Sheets.
Oh gosh,
which was on
okay.
a cassette tape, so that's telling you how far back that was.
Right.
But unlike now, there's so much information and you have access to that information. Back then, there really weren't all the mentors, the meetups and things like that. So I really just, I had this course, but I never really knew how to get started.
Mm-hmm.
So fast forward, about 2 years ago, I decided, hey, let me try this again. Francine and I, we worked together, and we were just having kind of a random conversation. She had her real estate license at one point as well, and we decided to just kind of give it a shot. So we just started off, and then one day, I get this random email from Charles Blair, I'm like, who's this guy? Because
right.
Francine knows I've bought several courses. Even when we met, I was still buying courses, just buying stuff and not really knowing what to do with it. I got this email from Charles about the meetup. I became a free member, and then as Francine and I discussed becoming business partners, we decided to go ahead and do the Real Deal Mastermind meetup. That was pretty much the pivot to our business. Like it kind of made our business go from just a conversation to explode into a real live business. So.
That's so cool. I love it. And I see Above and Beyond Realty just joined. Thank you so much. And then we have Francine here. Yeah, so the cool thing is that you guys like pretty much stepped out on faith in terms of, yes, double tap, because they really took that big leap from leaving their full-time jobs.
Yes, we did.
And doing real estate full-time. So this has been like a really profitable experience, clearly.
Yeah,
because right. And I didn't show the outside of the house, but the house that we're in is pretty nice. Lights are on, we got the car outside. Okay. So you've been involved with real estate, Adrian. You said you were doing mortgage closings, and that was about like 15 years. And then Francine, how long have you been involved in terms of real estate?
I've always wanted to do real estate, and I took my real estate course at 24. I'm not going to say how long ago that was.
Okay.
And I took my first real estate course, and my intention was to be a real estate agent and then move into rehab.
Okay.
Shortly after I graduated from real estate school and took the test, the market crashed.
Wow.
And so I'm like, oh, well, maybe this isn't the best time to, kind of just go and shift careers. So then I started going back into different things, get into the corporate world. And then maybe around 4 years ago, I started getting that itch again, like, you know what, Francine, this is not what you really want to do.
Right.
You always wanted to be in real estate, but why aren't you doing that?
Right.
And so at that point, I said, you know what, and rehab has always been my passion. And so I decided that I'm going to do a rehab. And that was kind of me stepping back into real estate again. I'm going to find a property, I'm going to rehab it, I'm going to make it great. And during that process, I was talking to Adrian, and I wanted to do that. She was interested in doing something more. And so that's kind of how we got started.
Wow.
So I went from, rehabbing while I was still at work. And then when we realized that, we weren't going to be going back, I said, you know what, I'm just not going to apply for anything else.
Wow.
And I just didn't. I didn't update my resume. I didn't go online. I'm like, I'm just not going to do anything else.
High five in the air. Because that was me too. High five over there too.
So
right.
That's how it all kind of came to be.
Cool. And thank you so much, Josh, for joining in. Another more mastermind mentor. Yes. Double tap. I think we're probably going to be at like 44,000 hearts at the end of the episode. Maybe. I don't know.
Awesome.
Let me know, guys. We'll see. So, wait. Curious. How did those numbers on that first rehab look when you were at the job?
Well, I actually bought the property from the city.
Okay.
And
Vacant to values?
Yes. I bought it from vacant to value. I looked at it. It was a full rehab. Estimated appraised value was $250,000.
Oh, nice.
I bought it from the city for about $5,000. Yes.
Cool.
Yeah, and it took me longer than I wanted to get it done. Initial rehab was going to put me somewhere around 180 for a full that I did, put in around 180, ended up at 250 as far as appraised value.
Okay.
So that's kind of
wow. On the first, girl, go ahead, because that usually don't happen on the first one. Okay. So now your specialty in the field with Chariot Group LLC. Tell us a little bit about that.
So initially we started off wholesaling.
Okay.
And so we got a couple deals off of the wholesaling when we first started. But we found that wholesaling does, at the time we were working, and we found that wholesaling does take a lot of your time. And so it was kind of difficult. We were like running around like chickens, trying to go to work, trying to visit these properties, not really being able to take the time and get a good target audience. So we were wasting actually a lot of time just kind of going to look at properties that were just pretty much gone.
Right.
So we've been in a lot of, war areas, and it was like, we put a lot of money into marketing, doing mail campaigns and things like that. We had to basically, when we were laid off from our jobs and we decided that we weren't going to go back to work, we had to make a serious business decision. Can we keep letting this money kind of go out the door and go down the drain and we're not getting any deals? What is it that we need to do? During that time, we still had about 3 mail campaigns running.
Okay.
So we got a call. And this particular property was in decent condition, almost rent ready, needed a few very minor repairs. But the owner was upside down on her loan. She wasn't able to refinance. Like, she was in a bad situation. The previous tenants that she had, even relatives, did not pay her rent. So she really did not want to rent the property out. She was just scared at that time, gun shy being a landlord. And then it didn't make a sense to be a wholesale deal.
Right.
So we took it to Charles because we just felt like there has to be something we can do for her. That became our first guaranteed rent house.
Okay.
And so we were able to take that house and convert it into renting rooms, where we were able to realize a positive cash flow. She was able to get enough money each month from us to pay her mortgage.
Okay.
And everybody's kind of happy from that. Once we started doing that, we felt like we were onto something. It also met our skill set. It gave us the time we needed to, have more balanced lives instead of running around and just wasting money. And then we decided, along with that, to do tenant placement.
Okay.
And so we've had a few deals from tenant placement as well. And we just feel like it's right, just where it's aligned with what we want to do, with where we want to go. And then, so right now our specialty is tenant placement and guaranteed rent.
Wow. Okay. Pretty cool. So now for her property, with her being like upside down in the mortgage, you remember what those numbers look like on her property?
So the thing is, she has an inner city property in which she had a mortgage of, maybe like 66,000. And it was actually for the particular block that she's on. The properties are probably worth like 40 to 50.
Oh,
So
she was a definition of upside down.
She wasn't in a position where she could refinance or anything like that, but she just wanted, what can I do? And we felt like, we were at a great point that we could help her. And it was funny because it's like, Charles told us how the guaranteed rent works, and we met with her the very next day, had no clue what we were doing. But because Charles is so informative and he really breaks everything down for you, we were able just to, regurgitate it and break it down for her.
Right.
And she felt like, in her mind, all she wanted to do was be able to pay her mortgage.
Right.
And, because she lives somewhere else. I want to be able to, I don't want to lose my house. I don't want my credit to go bad. I want to be able to pay my mortgage. And we were able to meet her need, and she was able to help us. So we're actually getting ready to sign, renew our lease with her.
Wow. So that's so funny, because when I first started coming to the Real Deal Meetup, like, I had probably about 10 deals that I let slip out of my hand before I met Charles. When it was in that same exact situation. So, it is what it is. But that kind of speaks to how you guys got started with the tenant placement. So, like, how has everything been thus far, experiencing with tenant placement? How do you like it?
I like it a lot. I think, as Adrian said, it speaks to our skill set. I feel like, as former administrative corporate people, we have a very strong management sense. And I feel like we're very process oriented. And with the tenant placement, we've kind of come up with a process. We walk our people through the process, from the landlord to the prospective tenants, and we're very consistent with that. And because we do that, it's worked out very well for us.
That's really cool. So now, like, when you say tenant placement, like, what exactly do you mean? Because I'm thinking of somebody who literally takes a tenant, throws them in an apartment, and be like, okay, see you guys later.
We try to vet the people. We try to make sure that it's a good fit for the tenant and the landlord, because, you want to make sure that the property makes sense for both parties.
Right.
Because, who wants to get a tenant in 1 month and then in 3 months they're gone, and you have to, and so one of the things that we wanted to make sure is that we're not just finding people anywhere, not vetting them, and then placing them into people's property, then 3 months later, because who wants to have a tenant that's not, going to perform well?
Exactly.
So, what we try to do is make sure that the tenant, matches the requirements from the landlord, and that what the landlord is offering matches what the tenant's looking for, making sure the funds are aligned, making sure the person is responsible, and making sure that it's just going to work out. And so we try to, put our best effort into making sure that everybody's getting what they want. And because we've done that, I feel like we've had a good run with it.
Cool. So when you do the tenant placement, especially for like rooming houses, do you actually manage those rooming houses as well?
Yes.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, okay, cool. Because that's really a niche, because a lot of companies, they actually try to stay away from room rentals.
Yeah, but I mean, as I said, I think the reason why is because unlike just a traditional placement where you have a single family home and just a family in there or one person, it's more labor intensive as far from the management standpoint.
Right.
So if you're not a person who wants to kind of manage or process and have a structure, then I would say, you're absolutely right. You probably don't want to rent rooms because that's the piece that is different. It's a little bit more labor intensive from a management perspective.
Right.
But I think it's worth it.
Okay, cool.
If that's your lane.
So now, like, explain also the process of room rentals, because this is something I'm still getting a little bit familiar with myself. So
basically, a lot of people, when they come into the real estate investing business, we kind of all start on that whole wholesaling thing. And so you use the same strategies that you would with wholesaling. You can still do mail campaigns. You can still do online postings. Like, you don't change that piece. So one thing we did learn about this whole business as a whole, we kind of use 3 things to keep our business successful.
Okay.
That's management, marketing, and relationships. Those are the 3 keys that we keep, that always at the forefront. So when we go to try to find landlords, we use the same marketing techniques. We try to seek out absentee owners. And the difference is we're trying to get rent-ready properties that are rent-ready. Okay. We don't want to put a whole bunch of money into fixing up someone else's property, because you're still going to be the owner. So I don't want to, remodel your home. So we use the same techniques to seek out, absentee owners. Once we get that owner, we have a process that we follow. We come out, we do an assessment of the property, the same as you would if you were wholesaling. We're taking a look. The only thing is we're looking with different eyes to see if this property is already livable. Okay. So we want to check things like we want to make sure the water works. If it's the wintertime, the heat works. We're looking to make sure, the bedrooms don't have holes in the ceiling and things like that. Can people live in here? There are no, obvious signs of leaks or anything like that. Right. And then what we do is we try to find the better properties for our rooming houses. They'll still be in, your city areas. We want to we think about the population that we're serving. So we want houses that are close to, public transportation, so people can get to work and get around the city. And we want to make sure that it's on a decent block, because the way we operate our rooming houses is we want people to feel like they are home, not that they're living in a rooming house. Right. And so once we settle on an agreed rent with the landlord, we'll come in. We pretty much put 4 tenants in a home, a typical Baltimore City house that has 3 bedrooms. We'll convert a room into a 4th bedroom. Okay. We furnish it with a brand new bed, dresser, lamp. We keep the kitchen, refrigerator, stove. We also add a microwave and a toaster, so people feel like that they are home. Right. And then we start our marketing process. We look at each room and we determine how much we could probably make from each room on a weekly basis. Okay. So when we market the property, that's what we market it as, rooms for X amount a week.
But now I don't think people understand what the profit margins with this are. It's so cool because you're getting paid on a weekly basis. If one person moves out, it's like, okay, thank you. I can get somebody else inside of that room. So like, what are the profit margins for this?
So if you look at a standard house, 4 bedrooms, average $150 a week per bedroom. Okay. And so, so it's 4 tenants, $150 a week per tenant. So,
wow. Yeah. Okay.
And so then you also have to realize from that you have your expenses. So you have to pay the landlord rent. You have to all utilities are included in the tenant's rent. Okay. So we have to pay gas and electric. So depending upon where the house is located, sometimes we provide Wi-Fi and cable, sometimes we don't. It depends on the location of the house. Gotcha. Like we have one house where the guys in there, everyone works, no one's really home that much. Like no one even has a television. Okay. They don't care. And we offered it to them, hey guys, do you want us to install it? It's like, no. We're fine, and then I have another house where everybody wants it. So, it depends. And that's where the relationship piece comes in. you know, we don't just rent rooms and, hey, come on, move in here and we're going to collect your money. We, you know, we try to meet the needs of our tenants as well.
Okay.
You know, and so we talk to them, you know, we build relationships with them. If they're in need of some different resources that we are aware of, you know, we share that with them. So those are the types of things we do. We had a tenant that was, you know, unhappy at one point in one of the houses. We like relocated him to one of our houses because he was a good tenant. Okay. So we didn't want to lose him, and he kind of didn't want to leave us either. So it was like, hey, we have a vacancy in this house. So we literally packed him up in my truck and moved him.
Are you serious?
Yeah. It was so, you know, and that relationship piece is very important because you want to be able at the end of the day to go and collect your rent.
That's so true.
And so we, you know, we try to help these guys as much as we can, and in return, you know, they're just good tenants.
So how do you collect the rent? Like I'm thinking of, you know, one of those cartoons where the landlord's coming with the bat, knocking on the door.
That's pretty much
well, basically, when we go, we typically have a scheduled date for each house. There's a scheduled date and time for each house. So everyone knows when we'll be there to collect the rent. They're not going to be there because they would make arrangements prior or afterward.
Okay.
And so typically we would do it in the common area, or they would have it waiting for us.
Okay, cool. So like that 150.
There's a set date and set time. There's
set
no
date,
random,
set time. Okay.
We're not coming here every other day. You know, we collect rent on a certain date at a certain time.
Okay, so every Friday I will be at 123 Main Street
at 5 o'clock.
At 5 o'clock. Sitting at the kitchen table, waiting for my envelope to be. Okay. Okay, cool. So now, do you consider room rentals to actually be a little bit more profitable than doing single family rentals, or how would you vet that?
I mean, I think just because we're taking a standard 3-bedroom house that we typically only have one person paying rent, or, you know, a group of people, or just one group paying rent versus spreading that space out and segmenting it and getting multiple people paying more rent. So obviously you're getting more rent per month. Right. Than you would if you just had a single family home. Even with, you know, you are covering utilities, and you are covering, so, you know, like cable and Wi-Fi, if that's what's wanted. But it still works out better than if you have a single family home with just one group or one family in it.
Okay. All right. Cool. And then in terms of like the promotional standpoint, so like how do you actually promote your organization for your tenants? And then Adrian pretty much kind of described how you will target landlords, or those tired landlords, those out-of-state landlords, those sick landlords. They like, I don't want to do this anymore. So for the tenants, how are you actually attracting tenants?
Well, tenants, we focus on social media. Okay. We do go Section 8. We place post ads there. Oh. And so, you know, because, you know, if we have a placement company, we have landlords who are looking for people who, you know, have subsidized rent. That's a great place to advertise. What's the first place they're going to go? Nice. So, and we do social media. That's our biggest thing. Okay. And to go Section 8. And those are pretty much where we go.
Sometimes for our tenants, we'll do signs. Okay. We don't put signs directly on the property because we don't want people just, you know, randomly knocking on the door. But I'll put signs on the bus stop up the street. Okay. On the corner up the street from the house. Smart. Yeah, somewhere in the neighborhood for rent signs and just post them up.
That is very smart. So what has been like, have you been able to kind of track which method of advertisement is bringing you the most leads for your tenants?
Craigslist.
Really? Wow. Craigslist. They still work.
They still work. I found that the key to Craigslist, you know, is to be very descriptive in the property. To put your highlights at the top of your ad. Okay. You want to make sure that you highlight the good things. Like new beds did it for our last house. You know, people are surprised. Like, wow, like I get a new bed, a brand new bed. And that's how we start all of our houses, with a brand new bed. And so it was like, wow, like you get a brand new bed. And so like that was like a big thing. But we put our highlights at the top of our ads. And then answer the phone is the key, you know, when they call, answer, right?
That's so simple, but
when they call, answer. So it's very rare that my phone just goes to voicemail. Okay. And I know that people we have a VA. However, we utilize our VA for what works best for us. I like to kind of get a feel for rooming house tenants myself. Just because, you know, we're responsible for that house. We're responsible for everything with that house. So our VA handles all phone calls except for those. Those come through me so that I can get a chance to kind of, you know, talk to the tenant a little bit, see what their needs are. That to me is the first step in building that relationship.
Okay.
We need that relationship, hands with that tenant because we're going to be coming there collecting rent, and so I like to have that initial conversation with them and set that initial appointment with them directly.
Okay, cool. I love it. Now, I mean, you are renting rooms. You do have some of those individuals that are a little bit on the wilder side of life. So, look at Adrian's face. So, what has been like one of your most eventful moments? Oh, okay. Came at the right time.
She tells the story much better.
About a week ago.
Okay.
I get this. I see Francine call. Francine and I are in constant communication. Period. To update each other on the business because we're both doing other things.
Okay.
So I'm like, oh, that's Francine. I'll call her back. I go upstairs, start, just preparing to end my night. And then I see this text come through from one of our tenants. And he's like, hey, Mr. So-and-so just pulled out a samurai sword on me.
Samurai?
Yeah, samurai sword. And, he's like, you can tell the landlord lady and you better, call the police while you can. So I'm like in a panic. We're now, Francine and I are now calling each other because we got the text at the same time. And so she's like, oh my gosh, what's going on? I'm like, I don't know what's going on. I said, you call the police. I'll call the tenant. And so she calls the police down there. We call the tenant. So we both rush to the house like, mad women. And we get there and one of our tenants has, I think maybe he was on medication and he didn't take it that day. But he decides that, 1 minute he wants to talk to the other tenant. He invited him, to sit down, watch TV in his room. And then the next minute he's like, get out. He like turned like the exorcist, like, get out. And so,
oh my gosh.
It was a learning experience for us, and here we go back to the relationship because we all know what a task and a challenge it is to evict a tenant.
Yeah.
So we have developed very strong relationships that we've only had. He was only the second one.
Okay.
But we didn't have to evict him. We just asked him. Well, he left on his own. We had a tenant, in another house before. We just asked him to leave.
Wow.
And so that plays a lot on your relationship because of course you can ask somebody to leave and they don't leave. They don't have to, right?
Right.
Because they have their tenant rights. But he said he would leave. And so what he did was he left the keys. I asked him to give me the keys. He's like, I'm not giving you the keys. Okay, fine. The police was there at this time. So what he did when he was leaving, he left the keys in the room, but he did like a hide and go seek thing. So I had literally had to search, and I'm like all around the room like I Spy like this. So I finally found him. That a couple days later, we were supposed to collect his rent actually, and so when we pulled up at the house, he was there with the pickup truck to get his things. So he left peacefully. And it all worked out, but we still had that whole samurai sword thing. Like
where did he get that from?
We don't know.
Yeah. So it was
oh my gosh.
In each one of our houses, we have a list of house rules.
Okay.
And so we learned that we need to add no weapons.
Right.
No weapons.
You think that's common sense, but clearly.
You would think. And I'm really trying to figure out where he got that sword from.
He's an older guy, and he sells stuff like, at flea markets and things like that. So he has like a collection of just interesting things.
Okay.
And I think that was one of his interesting things.
Possibly.
He wanted to utilize it that night.
Okay.
Make sure it still worked.
All right. He might have went to Kill Bill video
Yeah.
review and got that. Okay, cool. So that was your most exciting event. Now, did you have like any trying times with the business that you can think of, especially since you were coming from your full-time job, getting, how often were you getting paid full-time? Like every two?
Yeah.
Bi-weekly?
So that was an adjustment going from, your bi-weekly direct deposit to, well, we'll see what happens.
Right.
Hopefully something comes through. Yeah,
Right.
you still have, these operational expenses from your home, your operational expenses from your business. So that was an adjustment because just getting used to not having, a bi-weekly pay. Like that was because your money's not coming the same way that it came before.
And it makes you panic. I would call Francine. I'm like, Francine, I'm not going to be able to pay my bills this week. Like, I just need to, I'm going to get a job. And she's like, oh yeah. She's like, you say that every month.
She says it all the time.
Every month. I'm like, I don't know what I'm going to do.
And the thing is, it wasn't that she wasn't making the money. It just didn't come in. It wasn't in that bi-weekly pattern. So to her, I said, no, but I said, when you look at your account, if it still looks the way it needs to look, then you're okay. But it's just adjusting because I mean, there's literally like a detox period. Like I feel like as a worker, there's a shift between being an employee and being an entrepreneur, and you have to go through your own kind of process to get there. And there's some challenging moments. You're gonna have to, there's a fight with yourself internally because your first reaction is, I should just go back. Maybe I should just post. But I just stayed strong. I'm like, I'm gonna go with my guns, and I'm gonna stick to what I said I was gonna do.
Right.
And it worked out.
And you also have the people around you, because they're gonna be family members, and like, are you sure you don't want to go get a job? Are you sure you okay? Because people are gonna question, like, you don't have a 9 to 5. What are you sure this is working?
Yes.
And so but you can't let that deter you, because if we decided, once we decided we were going to do this, that we were just going to go full force. Wow. And so even at that time, we were still doing the wholesaling. We weren't really getting any deals. We were spending a lot of money, but we decided, what can we do to fix this? And, Charles gave us this great idea of these rooming houses, and we like it because it's consistent cash flow. And that's, so in our tenant placement are kind of like our deals. And then the guaranteed rent is our, this is our monthly money that we know we're going to get. And so again, it goes back to making sure you have a strong marketing plan. Yeah. Because you have to be prepared if one of those tenants moves out to be able to fill that room like that. Right. And so those are the things we work on to keep building our business. But we went through some tough times just questioning if we were even cut out to do this. And I think we all do that. And, one thing Francine used to be like, well, if we don't go anytime, this is a test. This is a test. And we've come out on the other side with a clearer vision of, what we want to do and where we want to go.
Right, that's so true. And then for everyone who just, I see the hearts flowing in. Yes, for all the people in the struggle with the real estate game. And for everyone who just joined in on the line, this is the Real Deal Meetup. We are here with the lovely Adrian and Francine of Chariot Group LLC, tenant placement. And you can also go onto the replay just to get some more information in reference to their business and their tenant placement, room rentals, guaranteed rents, closings, which I just discovered, and all these amazing things that they do. But one thing that I can say, like, from being here, like, the synergy is awesome between you two. How did you keep that part up?
Well, I think the key to having a partner is you have to have someone that matches your personality, that kind of feel where I'm strong, she's able to feel, or where I'm weak, she's able to, compliment me, and vice versa. And I think that's the key, because if you have you can have two great people, but if they're two great people at the same thing, then it may not be the best thing. But I feel like we mesh very well, and I feel like, because we both are so focused on, we want to make this work. So and we don't always agree. Like, don't think that everything's always kumbaya. We've had
look at that's
and I think, but it's all because we're both very passionate about what we're doing. So I think because we both know that anything that I'm saying or anything that she's saying is ultimately because we feel this is best for what we're trying to do. Right. So we don't take it personally. Right. And we have very good communication, and we're open and honest. Like like we don't hold things up like I don't like that. I don't really want to do that, or I think that's a bad idea, because I feel like what happens, especially with partnerships, when people don't communicate and people don't take the time to really understand and see what their strengths are and what their weaknesses are and how we can work together the best, that's when I think partnerships kind of fall away.
Yeah, it's always like that elephant in the room that people usually let go.
But you have to because people hold on to things.
Yeah.
And so the thing is, I'd rather just say it. Now, she may not like it. There's things she may say, I don't like it, but but you have to just say, like, no, I don't like that. I don't want to do that.
And our task-oriented things, we tend to kind of stay in our lane. Like, Francine's great with our contracts. So she handles all that kind of stuff. She mostly deals with our contracts and our landlords. Okay. I'm the one-on-one person with our tenants, and I do like most of the marketing pieces. And those are kind of things we fell into and realized like we were each good at. Okay. So why just do all of that cross, And so it creates more work, So if she handles hers, I handle mine, and we come together to make sure that the business is okay. That's what we do. And then we had to realize, we always joke about, now we're locked in for life because we have to file taxes together. Yes. Oh, so once you're locked in with the IRS, you might as well get along. So
right.
Exactly.
That is hilarious. So, okay, cool. So honesty, just letting the other person know, like, look, this is working or this is working. And then also staying within your lane. Like, you do this well, you stick with that. I do this well, I stick with that. Indian chief, call it a day. Right. Okay. Okay. Cool. I love it. So now, I mean, you all are fairly young. Working this, killing it. How do you manage your social lives?
Well,
Francis says, let me take this
That is a work in progress. I am not going to tell you that I have that under control yet, because it's simply not true. But because I think there was so much of a transition between, you know, working a full-time job and then becoming an entrepreneur and working and being an entrepreneur full-time. Like, I had to take some time to kind of step away from the social scene. And Adrian knows I was a social butterfly. Like, you know, so, I like to go out, I have, you know, friends, and I, you know, like to do different things. I like to travel, but I had to take a moment to say, you know what, if I really want this to work, I have to lay out a plan. I have to execute this plan. And so, you know, I took a little time off from my social, you know, I still, you know, tried to get some of the major things done, you know, family, birthday, but as far as like, you know, let's go here on a Tuesday and hang out, or, you know, let's take this trip and go here. Like, I kind of put a lot of that on hold because I wanted to make sure that what I was putting my time in was going to work.
Right.
And so, but now I've made a conscious effort to get back into that. We both, you know, kind of signed up and said, hey, we're going to make a little bit more time to be real people. So that's get back, you know, get some social things on my calendar.
Right.
Know, get some things other than work going. And so, I'm easing back into, you know, the social scene.
So on the flip side of that, we also realize that now that we are where we want to be as far as our business model, that now we can step back and now insert some more VAs. Okay. We didn't feel like it was time to do it early on because we had no clue what we were doing. Right. And so, you know, you're gonna train somebody to do what you don't know how to do. So like, we had to learn and create a process for our business. That's what we did first. That's what we wanted to do. So that when we get add, you know, some more VAs on, we can just kind of step away and show them what to do. So I'm in the process of building our operations manual. Oh, and nice. That will go to every VA we hire, step by step. This is what you need to do. I'm gone.
Okay, so step by step, we're going to give you the manual. Yep. Bam, there you go.
Everything we do from the marketing to the scripts that we use, everything. Wow. So, and each VA, whatever your role is, here's your role right here on page 25.
Wow, how comfortable. Like, are you going to feel, it's kind of like you're giving your baby away, like...
But we're
letting it grow up.
Yeah, we're letting it grow up.
That's a great one. It's going to college.
Yes.
We want our business to work. You know, we want it to grow. We want it to be successful. But we can't stay in it and see that growth if we're constantly, you know, running around from house to house and doing all of the front line stuff. So we need to step back and be able to manage this business and manage our, you know, hopefully employees soon, right? You know, and so that we can, you know, actually build it and work on the bigger things, you know, the bigger chunks. So
focus on it, just making the business bigger
and branding
and branding. And you know, we want to be the manager, be the executives, making the decisions and making sure things are running smoothly. And I find that when you're in it so deep, sometimes you can't see it. You can't see the holes because you're in it. You're in the hole,
right?
You know, but you know, you have to take that time and kind of step away and say, hey, you know what? Take a look. You know, sit and have our meetings, and we sit and say, hey, this is where our business is like. This is where we're performing well. This is where we have room for improvement, and make those types of decisions without it being a rush or without having to go and check on other things that someone else should be doing on the front lines.
That's so cool. So you guys are like actual managing members instead of being self-employed. Yes. Like a lot of, you know, a lot of us when we start out in real estate, we are self-employed individuals.
Well, that's the goal. I feel for me, my goal is I want to make money while I'm away. I want to make money while I am asleep.
And where are you going? Because you sound like you're going on a vacation.
Wherever I go. But I want things to. I don't want to have to be there for it to happen.
Right.
And I feel like that's the goal, is to make it so we have a plan and a process that can happen whether I'm here on the West Coast in another country. I want things to still happen, and I want them to happen well.
So true. That's awesome. So Now, it's been 1 year full time.
Yes.
So now, how long would you say that it actually took for you all to be comfortable enough? Like, was it the full year that you were first in business? Was it like the first 6 months that you say you kind of got it down pat to get that standard operating agreement together where you're going to go ahead and pass it out to the VA? Like, what was that time period?
So I would say these last 3 months, we've started to, feel very comfortable in what we're doing because we were able to, like the first house we got, we spent a lot of money just on unnecessary stuff. So everything was like a learning experience. We have a sound process at this point.
Okay.
So we're in the process of not only just looking for PVAs, but we're building a team.
Okay.
So we have a partner of ours who has relationships with a lot of city agencies.
Oh, nice.
And he's helping us get into the door with them to be able to house our rooming houses just on a consistent basis.
Nice.
We have our web guy is kind of our social media partner, so he's going to be branding us kind of everywhere.
Okay.
And so we have another guy who gets furniture for us.
Okay.
So when we need to, because every house we furnish. So those partnerships, those are the kind of things we want to be able to focus on, building out partnerships so that the business can build. So that's kind of where we are now. And so once we stopped running the rat race, which was about a good 3 months ago, we were able to kind of breathe and look at the things that we need to do. Okay, now we have a full process. Now we can walk into a house and be like, yeah, that room is this, that room is that, we need to fix that, boom, and we're gone. We go down, we talk to the landlord, offer them the rent, here's what it is, they say yay or nay, and it's just like that. It's just
I think the last house that we did, we turned over in about 3 weeks full, we acquired the property
on the 15th,
did whatever repairs, furnished it, tenants fully housed in 3 weeks.
Well, no, the first tenant called us on a Friday.
Okay.
And by that following Friday, the house was filled.
Wow.
Yeah. So
1 week.
Yeah, because of the first 2 weeks we sort of we got the property, we got the furniture, got everything set up, and then we started marketing. And that second week is when the first guy came, and then by the end of that second week, we had everybody there.
Wow. Okay. Really cool. Now, one thing that was mentioned before is the fact that the actual landlord is still owning the property. So how are you securing yourself against that legally, just so that they don't, pull out a samurai sword or anything like that?
Well, one thing, you always want to have renter's insurance because it's still a rental property for us.
Okay.
2, we have a lease with an option with permission to sublease. So that is very important because you can't just rent someone's house and move people in there. Like that landlord, the owner of the property, needs to know that you are subletting that property and you're not going to be in there.
Okay.
That's kind of what we do. And so when we bring in tenants, we have them sign a lease.
Okay.
And their lease is their obligation to us. We're obligated to the owner. They are obligated to us.
Okay, so a lease with the option to sublease.
And that's very important.
Yes.
Okay.
Pivotal.
Right. And that secures
Essential
you.
to life.
Essential to life. And that secures you to being able to do it. Okay. Are there any other documents or paperwork that is essential to you doing a rooming house?
So
you would
when
say?
you start off with your tenants, just because it's a rooming house, you don't want to treat it any differently than if it was a whole house. You want to just do it just as you would. You want to do a rental application. Okay. You attach to that rental application, we have an addendum which gives us permission to do a background check. Okay. Credit check and so forth, just like we would an apartment or a house. Then we run the background check because our key, and if you go on our website, you'll see that we want quality qualified tenants, and that's whether it's a room or apartment or a house. So what we want to make sure we do is we get people who are stable. Right. And so we also, at the time of the lease signing, we have the tenants come in. We give them a full tour as if it was a full house. Okay. We show them all the amenities and everything. We have a chat with them, create that bond with them at that time. We do an application fee. We run the background check. Then we set up a lease signing just as we would for any other property. My thing is, don't treat your rooms like they are less than. It's just as important as any other property that you would have. We have them sign the lease. We give them a copy of the lead cert. That's very important as well.
Okay.
We have them sign the lease. We have them, we include our house rules in our lease.
Okay.
And then, give them the keys to move in.
Wow.
And so one of the things that we have decided to change here lately because of our samurai sword is we're going to post our, house rules large in the house so that everyone knows.
Like a bulletin board.
Oh, that's a cool idea. That's a cool idea. I like that.
We don't want a bulletin board just full of rules because one of our goals for doing this is to help people who cannot afford a full apartment or full house.
Right.
But you still want someplace decent to live. So we decided to kind of make it also a resource board.
Nice.
Giving people just information, things that are happening in the community, bus schedules, whatever is
resources,
there, resources, food banks, things like that. So.
Wow, that is really cool. And that is the next step that people don't take because that shows them okay, these people actually give a crap about me and my living situation.
And it shows in our retention.
Mm-hmm. Right.
The people from our very first house are still the people in our very first house.
Really?
They won't leave.
They won't leave.
Even the guys who, said they were leaving, not because, but they, for whatever reason, they said they were leaving, they're still there. I had one guy, when he moved in, he said, I'm moving the first of the year. I'm not going to be here long. And it's we're getting up on the third first of the year, and you're still there, So, but again, it's about those relationships, and we keep, we keep clean houses, we keep decent houses, and we just, people put locks on their door because I want you to feel safe and I want you to have privacy, and I just think we just provide a home, and
right. That's so cool. Okay, guys. Well, if we don't have any questions for the audience, we're going to wrap this up tonight. I want to thank you ladies so much again. And this was so cool. Now I know, man, y'all gave me some ideas. I got a couple of properties I'm about to slide that way. Here, do what you can with this. But make sure you go on to therealdealmeetup.com if you have not already and RSVP for our next upcoming meeting. We meet on the 4th Saturday of each and every month. And of course, we are the 3rd largest real estate meetup in the nation. So go ahead, make sure you do that. Thank you guys so much for the hearts. I'm going to tally the heart ups at the end to see where we're at, but I'm pretty sure we're probably at 43,000. I think you guys did a good job. You guys did a good job today. So thank you so much. And also the your Facebook page, you guys do a great job in terms of the Facebook marketing. So what's the Facebook page and also your website so everybody could get in contact with you?
Facebook page is the Chariot Group LLC.
Okay.
And our website is Baltimore-tenant-placement.com.
Okay. Easy and simple. Baltimore-tenant-placement.com.
Can't forget that.
Cannot forget that at all. All right. Thank you guys so much. We are signing out and we will see you on our next Real Deal Meetup on Periscope TV. See you guys.